Hello, good people. Watch the game sports. I'm your man, L.A. Cheatham, on this
What?
election night.
Yeah. What's going on, good people? It's Benjamin Banico. What's happening? What's happening? What's up? What's up?
It's election night. The NBA is shut down. College basketball is in full swing. Got kicked off last night. There is a little bit of women's college basketball tonight. I don't think there's any men's college basketball, but the MAC is having a party. They're playing a little bit of college football tonight, so they're taking advantage of the coverage. I think the NHL is still kicking, but I mentioned that the NBA was kind of shut down for the election, but guess what? The NFL offices are still open, and they willing and dealing as we've come to the trade deadline. We've also come to the midway point of the season around the NFL.
Yep.
I have some thoughts about the Chicago Bears, and I think I want to look around the league a little bit. Want to talk about Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and MVP at the halfway point. So thanks for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel before we kick off. Once again, thanks for joining.
Yeah. So we finally at the point. We finally at the point of the season where you're gonna offer up some insight, some assessment, some feedback, some critique, some observations on the team that plays on the lakefront, on the team that had the number one draft pick, on the team that chose to retain their head coach.
Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, the Chicago Bears. Are you gonna give us some insight on what you witnessed on the field in Glendale, Arizona, as well?
Well, first of all, let's step into the stats a little bit. Let's see here. For the Bears, of course, the famous quarterback stat. It is 22 of 41, 217 yards for Caleb Williams. 41 pass attempts in an L. I think that holds true with what I've always been saying. You don't need if Caleb Williams is throwing more than 30 passes a game, you're either in a shootout or you're losing. Not enough of the special sauce. DeAndre Swift for 16 carries, 51 yards. With that being said, with me bringing up DeAndre Swift, today is the NFL trade deadline, and the Bears did trade Khalil Herbert to the Cincinnati Bengals. I have a funny feeling that even though the Bears have DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson, they're going to need a third running back before the season is done. Given the fact that Roshan Johnson has had concussion issues in the past, something tells me they're going to need a third running back at some point this season going down. A quick analysis of this game in Arizona is I noticed, I'm not a big fan of Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed how Arizona hid Kyler Murray in the offensive scheme. They smacked the Bears in the mouth with the run game. What was it, about 200 and some yards of rushing for the Commanders, if I'm not mistaken. But they did a wonderful job of hiding Kyler Murray in this game plan. Once they figured out that they could run the football, they continued to do so. Also, there was some concerns about the benching of Tyreek Stevenson and the hangover effect of losing the game on a Hail Mary last week in Washington.
Right.
A lot of talk about accountability on this team over the past week. Now 2 weeks. And all I can say, man, is that I think at halftime when the running back from the Cardinals,
Third string running back. Keep going.
I forget his name. It starts with an M.
I
He
got
ran back when he had that big run. I think it
Imari
was it
cardio, I think.
yeah, was it a
3
53
yards.
53-yard touchdown
Yep.
to close the first half. Not quite the Hail Mary, not quite the Hail Mary, but the first half ended the way the game ended in Washington
Yep.
in different fashion because this was a run play. Matt Eberflus was said that was on him. He was caught up. He was caught up. He had him called up for a pass protection play, which he should have. But there still has to be some accountability when you talk about tackling and getting the guy to the ground. He ran through your front, got through your linebackers, and then finished up in the end zone on your defensive backfield. So
Can we just talk about how
I'm
that?
gonna put that on the players.
Yeah, it definitely go on the players, but his explanation doesn't even make sense. Because it's plenty of times in the game you got the defense in a pass defense, and it's a running play, and they rally and
Yeah,
make a tackle.
yeah,
But for him to go 53 yards at the end of the half untouched, I'm sure you probably was in some sort of a prevent. That's definitely on the players. Don't try and fall on the sword on that and try and take accountability now. Like, nah, that missed a lot of people, including me. Keep going.
yeah. I think that's what he was doing. He was trying to get ahead of it and take the accountability. But like you said, we ain't buying it. What that tells me is, okay, you're gonna take accountability for the players quitting on you because that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And in the second half, they didn't even score. Um, the offense is in a shambles. Look here, man. Let me tell you like this. As I can go, I'm going to give you my analysis of this team up to this point at 4-4 after losing to the Arizona Cardinals 29-9. Okay, after this bye week, I I think I kept repeating. Carolina Panthers were not any good. The Jacksonville Jaguars at that time were not even good. Were not any good. Even though they have played a little bit better since the Bears beat them in London. But we knew this team had talent. I questioned coaching. And when I look at the identity of this team, there's no one on this team that has ever really won anything. Now, I looked into it. So, um, the linebacker, uh, Edwards,
Tremaine Edwards.
TJ Edwards.
Oh, TJ.
Edwards played. Well, Tremaine, is that his last name, Edwards?
Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards.
Okay, yeah, okay. You got me. Thanks for correcting me on that. But TJ Edwards is one of the few players in that locker room that has a taste of success and winning, going to a Super Bowl with the Eagles and losing. I believe they lost to the Chiefs. And then Tremaine Edwards um had some success with the Buffalo Bills. I think they went to the division championship game, if not AFC championship game and lost, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But the identity of this team is not a lot of winners on the roster. Even when you look at some of the guys that they brought in free agency, we like Keenan Allen. We like that signing when the season started, but we kind of figured that he would be healthy all season. So we knew he'd probably miss some games. But I also felt that up to this point, you had to know what you were getting from Keenan Allen so you can decide what you're going to do with him into the future, whether or not you're going to pay him or let him walk.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, now the trade deadline is behind us, and they didn't trade him. So now Keenan Allen is auditioning for the league from this point on. I'd expect for him to play a little banged up now because he has not been traded and he has to play for a contract. So, but the overall of it, there's no real winners on this team. And there's a lot of talent, but I just don't, there's no real winners on this team. And that includes the coach, the head coach. No
Yep.
one has an idea of being in this situation and turning things around. And I also felt like we'll know what we got with this team and when we see some adversity. Well, the adversity is here.
Mm-hmm.
Every game from this point on is a big game. Um, and that's pretty much how I sum it up for the season now up to this point. Um, and, uh, keep in mind how things started with just roster spots.
Yeah.
Misuse of the roster. You
Velvet
got
Jones.
rid of Velvet Jones. He makes the roster. He plays one game. You have to release him. You can't even trade him. Wasted roster spots. Khalil Herbert was probably the most proven back for this team. They want to play him. Now he's traded away. Like I say again, I think they're going to be in need of a third running back at some point. But 4-4, we expected them to beat the Jaguars. We expected them to beat the Panthers. We expected them to beat the Titans, even though they got away with one. And they also beat a banged up Los Angeles Rams team.
You can just
That's
flip
the
stuff
team.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
we
that's
thought
the
they were
team.
going to beat the Colts too.
Yeah. So then they lose a game to the Colts they shouldn't have lost. So 4-4 is where we at. Dead last in the division. It's an uphill battle from this point on. Just like I said, every game from this point, the playoffs started 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Before then, it was just, win these games before you get to the tough part of the schedule. Well, I think we could probably figure that we probably figured that the Washington Commanders would not be an easy out. And they proved that they were not an easy out. A contagious team at this point when it comes to winning,
Mm-hmm.
because you can say that the Commanders and the Bears were in the same exact positions at this time last year, meaning wins and losses, and as far as they weren't contenders at this time of the year last year. You're talking about a team that turned it around. Uh, Both of these teams were number one and number two in the draft when it comes down to taking picks. And look where they are now. You got Jaden Daniels playing well. You got a team playing well at the top of the division. No one expected them to be there. Everyone, pretty much, a lot of people thought that the Bears would be 6-2 right now. I think that's what most people thought. That 6-2 was a real place for the Bears to be this at this point, going into the second half of the season. And now they're 4-4. I just wanted to see if they can match up with some teams that were playing well. Right now, they can't. And there's a stat on me that Matt Eberflus that he's 0-18 on the road on Sunday,
Yeah,
if I'm correct.
that is correct. Yes.
So, hey man, this is why months ago I bagged out. I put it in prove it mode. And right now, they're not proving to me to me that they're turning it around right now. They're just not doing it. Now, if you want to look on the bright side, maybe they'll go 13-4. Okay? That's looking on the bright side. But I think it's highly unlikely.
That's bright side. You looking right into the sun on that one because that ain't gonna happen.
I'm just trying to look on the bright side because, like I say again, I don't want to be down about this because many people have went out about jerseys. They got hyped about Caleb Williams. We overlooked the fact that hell, Matt Eberflus grew a beard in. You know, we went on Hard Knocks. We did all that. People got excited, and here we are, 4-4, midway point of the season. But if we're gonna look on the bright side, you got to go 13-4. And I think a lot of people even doubt if their 8, 9, 10 game win predictions are in jeopardy now.
They better. They better be doubting it. I mean, they haven't through 8 games, 9 weeks. Like you said, they beat, as my man Chris Broussard says on First Thing First all the time, they beat some tomato cans. They beat tomato cans. They cannot play with good teams. And they damn sure can't beat the top tier elite teams in the league. Now,
they can't play on the road.
Do they have the personnel to do that? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, they got the talent.
I think Ryan Poles did an excellent job of putting this team together around, your number one pick coming in, Caleb. He gave him weapons. I like Swift being added still. The Keenan Allen thing, because he's been injured and he just hasn't been able to get on the same page with Caleb. That's kind of a wash. Actually, I was thinking if they traded Keenan, that might be addition by subtraction, because obviously Caleb and Rome got something going on. He always gonna try and get the ball to Rome. They in lockstep. DJ Moore, like I pointed out a few weeks ago, I feel like DJ had been making some business decisions. And, I talked to some other Bears fans just to get their perspective. And they were saying they just don't think that he is vibing with what the offense is trying to do, how they're trying to use him. And he's not on the same page with Caleb. They even went so far as to say, like, he might just be a Justin guy. Like, he might just be cool with Justin and thought Justin was better than Caleb. But that's neither here nor there.
I mean, that could be the case. I don't want to say that right now because I just think that he's a professional when you come down to talking about teammates. And with Caleb coming in, being a rookie, he had to give him a chance. And that's just being a professional. I would believe that he has more of an issue with the offense and what they're asking him to do, because we're still seeing we're not seeing him go downfield as much. I mean, maybe a little bit more last 2 weeks, but you're right. He has not gotten that rhythm with Caleb Williams, and the tendencies of Caleb Williams are starting to show now. All of the people that said that Caleb was going to struggle, trying to play off platform a lot and play a little bit of hero ball, I think we saw a lot of that on Sunday. And the biggest tendency I saw, it wasn't a detriment to him on Sunday, but when he finds trouble in the pocket, he likes to bootleg or scramble out to the right and throw across his body.
Yeah. Same thing we were saying about Justin. The reverse spin out.
Well, yeah, but what Justin's thing was, he didn't stick in the pocket long enough. I think Justin thought I'm good enough, I'm big enough, and bad enough. I'm gonna run past you, I'm gonna run through you. I think that was Justin's problem. Whereas Caleb's problem is he's got some of the same problems Justin had, meaning either they're not giving him the hot routes, or he's not taking the easy hot routes or the layups.
Yeah, he ain't taking his layups.
And then He rolls out to the right, and for the life of me, I can't understand to me why the linebackers and safeties are not picking up on it yet. Because especially against Arizona, you saw it a whole lot more against Arizona than you did against Washington. Rolling out, and then he had one play where he went left, then went all the way back to the,
Yeah.
to the right.
Off for incomplete. And I
Yeah,
think it was a penalty on the play too. So he did
and
all
that
that.
was the play, that DJ Moore has been criticized of walking off the field. At that point, I can see DJ Moore saying, oh, he was open. He was open. Caleb didn't throw him the ball when he was open. And I can see DJ Moore saying, oh, he's turning around. He's going the other way. I'm out. Now, when I look at that, I saw DJ Moore limping off the field. And I have a question whether or not DJ is playing a little banged up. I believe I would like to say he is because I believe at this point in time everyone's a little banged up. You know what I'm saying? So, and at that time when things are not going well, those little those little strains and sprains, I think they hurt a little bit more when you're not getting the ball.
Oh yeah, I'm making a business decision. I'm making a
Yeah.
business decision. And
Hmm.
I think a lot of Caleb's defaulting to playing like he played at USC, trying to play off that platform, playing hero ball, comes down to the simple fact of he does not trust the offensive mindset in the Chicago Bears. That's what
Yeah.
it comes down to. He feels like this line can't really protect me. They not put me in situations to win. I got to go out here and make something happen because these guys they don't have a clue. When they came out with the story broke early in the season where they had to go to Waldron and say, why we not scripting plays, why we not running the ball more, that was the first red flag.
Yep.
That was the first. The second red flag is after the bye, how they came out and looked in Washington. And we said it on the show. We said whichever quarterback just leans on his running game, leans on his weapons around him, does what he's been doing up to that point, is gonna win the game. Who did that? Jaden Daniels with the rib injury and all. He stayed true to what they had been doing all year. And we come out the bye. We got Shane Waldron just trying to show off the brand new toy that we got. I don't even think Shane is trying to show off like I'm just such an offensive mind. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying
Hmm.
to audition for. It's just no clue, no earthly idea of how they.
I think he's trying to figure some things out still. And
But you had it figured out. Versus
well,
I know we was playing the lower teams in the league, but if that was working versus them, there's still an NFL team. Let's see what that is until it's not working. But when you come in at like yesterday, 41 times, not yesterday, Sunday, they threw the
yeah,
ball 41 times. What was the game versus the Texans? He threw the ball 53 times.
yeah.
What both of them games got you what? L's.
I think he threw the ball 52. It was the 52 times against the Colts, if I'm not mistaken. But you're exactly right. With the high volume passing game, there's only the ingredient for that is one or two things. You're in a shootout or you're getting beat trying to come back from behind. And then lately the last 2 weeks, the defenses have been able to pin their ears back because they've been having
They
either
struck.
more rhythm or like in case of the Cardinals, and the Cardinals have not been great at getting to the quarterback this season, I don't
Lower
believe.
tier in the league.
And then I think going up multiple scores gave them an opportunity to pin their ears back, and then it just put Caleb in the offensive line behind the banged up offensive line. It put him in a pickle, and that's what you got up with. Now, going forward, you got the Patriots coming in. You're gonna have two banged up teams going to Soldier Field, and I believe the Bears' next three games are at home at Soldier Field. And will they continue to stay undefeated? Another must-win game. Look, at this point, like I told you, I tapped out. I'm just enjoying football now, and they have not proved anything to me about being turning the page and being a winning franchise or winning this season yet. And this is one of the reasons why I had to kind of look at how even with what we do here, I had to consider how am I going to cover this team. The only way I could do it is by enjoying the league itself, and that's what I plan on doing. That's what I've been doing. That's what I'm going to continue to do, because the Chicago Bears, they just
The Chicago Bears. Just say it. They
they just it just ain't it. Hey, they set up like a bad welding lineman, and this is what I mean when I say this. We're at the midway point. We're gonna go back to Mitchell Trubisky.
mm-hmm.
Mitchell Trubisky gets hired. Mitchell Trubisky gets
Draft.
drafted.
Yep.
John Fox is the coach.
Yep.
John Fox was never brought to Chicago to win football games. He was brought into Chicago to clean up the mess. The locker room was a mess. You had Jay Cutler here. You needed to kind of get off Jay Cutler's contract. And John Fox came in, called. Like I said again, I think he called out this organization on a few things. They didn't like it. And they drafted Mitchell Trubisky. Some say that that's not even who John Fox wanted. They say he wanted Deshaun Watson. Okay, so Ryan Poles drafts Mitchell Trubisky. Fire John Fox. You bring in Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy takes the job. He's supposed to fix Mitchell Trubisky. That didn't work out. The double doink year was the best year that Matt Nagy had, which was the first year he had with Mitchell Trubisky. Well, the defense was really good, causing turnovers, putting the offense on short fields, had a really good running game with Jordan Howard, ran him out of town, traded him because you didn't want to commit to running the football in 2019. And then shortly after that, you bringing in guys that know the system. Nick Foles.
Yep.
Okay. Bring in Nick Foles. Still couldn't get it right. Even Nick Foles called out Matt Nagy. But okay, let's move on. So you get rid of Mitch, you bring in Justin. Matt Nagy, Ryan Pace trying to save their job.
Yep.
Now you're back. You're not aligned again because you got a new coach. You got a new quarterback with a coach
on the
hot seat. Okay, so you underdevelop or mess up the development adjustment. What do you want to do? You bring in Andy Dalton. We know how that went. Now you get rid of Justin. Matter of fact, you bring in Matt Eberflus, get Justin 2 years, you tank on him 1 year. The second year you say this is your make it or break it season, which in my opinion, I think they wanted Justin. Justin had to play out of his mind. He had to lead the team to the playoffs and probably win a playoff game to come back to Chicago. I'm just being honest with you, because he wasn't Ryan Pace's guy.
Yep.
You're hiring Ryan Pace. You put him with Justin. You put him. You Ryan Poles. You're hiring Ryan Poles. You put him with Matt Eberflus, and here we go again. Now, 4-4, year 3 of Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles is supposed to be setting up this organization to take the North. Well, the North got a lot tougher, and we ain't nowhere close to taking it.
Still in lane.
You know what I'm saying? So compound that with you're trying to build a new stadium. Winning will cure all. But that's not what's happening. Now we're 4-4. Now the fan base is asking for Matt Eberflus's job again. This happened last year. 5 weeks into the season, they go to Washington. Isn't it pretty ironic? They go to Washington, they get a win, save his job. Okay. The next week, Justin gets injured against Minnesota. Okay, so Now Justin's ass is out. Okay. Now here we go again. The next season, we're going into Washington again on a high note. But when you leave Washington that night, your ass is out again.
Yep, pretty much. I think a lot of the fan base still has not recovered from Washington. It's twofold too, because it's look at what Washington did. They came in with new ownership, new general manager, new head coach. Even though Dan Quinn is a defensive guy, they went and got an offensive minded offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury that's working with Jaden Daniels, and lo and behold, it's working. Here, you just outline how the Bears, this is their third time making the same mistake, and then you lose to Washington it's just everything comes down to Washington. Even what's going on in election night, everything is about Washington right now. Everything is about Washington.
Yeah.
And when we left Washington, how we lost like we did, even though that team fought. And to lose in that deflating manner, then you had the Tyreek Stevenson thing and how that was handled. That was botched, I believe, by Eberflus. And then the entire fan base was waiting on this team to go to Arizona and show us that we can still believe in y'all. And they came out flat and laid a dud. So now we back to this the Bears. We back to it's the Bears.
Shout out to my man, the big guy, Mike. The big guy came on with us 3 weeks ago. He say he should have been on tonight. That's one of the comments he made tonight. I should have been on tonight. So Big Mike, we're gonna get you on, my man, the big guy. We're gonna get him on again soon. The Bears got 3 home games coming up next. They're pretty good at home, so maybe we'll get him on after a victory. I'm looking forward to having him on again. But like I said, man, I tapped out a long time ago, and things are shaping up the way I thought they would. I was in improving mode. I'm still in improving mode. If you're gonna look on the bright side, hey, maybe they'll go 13-4. Who knows?
They proved to you
they don't look
Bears. That's what they proved to you. They proved to you that we still the Chicago Bears, and we only have one Super Bowl in the illustrious history of this franchise. One of the charter NFL franchises. We got one Super Bowl, 1985. How long ago was that? You can do the math.
It is the halfway point of the season. So it looks bad right now. I don't know, and I don't think if it'll get any better.
It don't look bad. It looks the same. It looks the same.
I'm saying from this point forward, because when you talk about the future of Matt Eberflus, I think the writing's on the wall for Matt Eberflus, and I think he's in a situation now where you have to win, and that might be for the fan base. That might be something to look forward to. Getting a new coach. A lot of people want Ben Johnson and stuff like that, but I'm kind of like in a twilight zone with the Bears. This is why I've decided to just enjoy the NFL for what it is. Because the Bears have to prove to me that they can do this consistently, which is win, build a winner consistently. You know what I mean? We flip-flopping. We going from this quarterback to that quarterback, now the third quarterback. And it's like nothing else matters until we get that right. And I get it. But you got the go along, get along gang in the front office.
Yep.
I keep pointing out the fact that Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, and Shane Waldron have the same agent. Where's the accountability? They've got some tough decisions to make. And I've been knowing this since the day they hired Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. Yeah. But when you go back to that, you got to give them a shot. You got to say, okay, let's see how. It seems kind of suspect, but let's see how it works out. Right now, it ain't working out too fine. So there's gonna be some unhappy people amongst the go along, get along gang real soon, because if the Bears don't turn it around, Ryan Poles gonna have to make some real tough decisions amongst his friends and buddies when you come down to the allegiance of the agency.
Mm-hmm.
The go along, get along gang. That's what I'm gonna call them. You know what I'm saying? So until we get that straight, or until the McCaskies could kind of, I don't know if they're gonna sell the team. I mean, there's so much that's being suggested about this team. So much on the line, even all the way down to the stadium situation. And well, like I said, winning kills all. And until that happens, I'm just going to enjoy NFL football because unlike the NBA basketballs, it's the best thing going on television. They say NFL football is the number one TV show. It's the number one show on television.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to enjoy the football season for what it is. I'm not going to let the Bears um ruin that for me. That's pretty much how I look at it. So hey, I want to go on unless you got some more. Like I say, the Bears they got the Patriots coming in. The Patriots coming off a tough overtime loss to the Titans. The Patriots. Maybe the Bears will demolish the Patriots. They may prove again that they're the most talented team on the field because we do know that they're more talented than the Patriots. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say the Bears should beat the Patriots. But with that being said, this is another must-win game because if you lose to the Patriots, Maddie, it's gonna be kind of rough.
If they lose to the Patriots, I was saying 9-8. They lose to the Patriots, they might finish with 5-6 wins.
It's looking rough. It's looking rough, man. So like I said weeks before, every win until it's not, every game until it's not is a big game from this day forward for the Chicago Bears. Um, and they got to rally the troops. This ain't the time to lose the locker room because I mean it can
teetering
get
up.
ugly.
It's
It can
teetering
get
up.
ugly. Yeah, because over the past week, this is another thing I want. A lot of red flags. Now, the red flags, like with Caleb Williams when they drafted him, talking about how involved his dad is in his business negotiations or whatever. But one of the red flags have already shown with the tweet or the retweet from the controversial retweet of one of the Washington Commanders players saying some things, and Carl Williams, Caleb Williams' dad, uh, criticizing in a way, pointing out that the Bears are not a very good. They don't have a very good coach, and not holding guys accountable. That's one of the red flags. Okay, let the famous people be famous. As hard as it is to sit back and be a parent or a spouse of a professional athlete, sibling, the best thing you can do in difficult times is stay out the way. Because when you start talking, you make the player look bad.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hard because they're fans just like us. They're bigger fans than we are because they have a vested interest in the athlete. But when you do those things, you put a lot more pressure on the athlete. And that's one of the red flags I had. Not quite LeVar Ball, but still a little bit. It's one thing to be opinionated. It's another thing to tweet things out and let little things come out. Because I just think you put more pressure on the athlete. That being Caleb Williams. He has enough pressure on him as it is. With all the hype coming out of Hard Knocks, all the hype, being the number one pick in the draft. Just a tough spot for the kid to be in. And his body language ain't looking good. He seems to be resorting to some bad habits.
You don't trust them.
And now maybe they'll get a chance to kind of reset again against the Patriots. But after that, it gets real. It gets real. And we can look around the league in a little bit.
No, like you
How do
said,
you
it's
go ahead?
real now. It's real now because you
Oh
dropped,
yeah,
so it's real now.
yeah. I'm talking about the competition level. If when you drop the ball against Washington, which was a winning team, winning is contagious. You drop the ball against Washington, and then you lose. What a lot of people think a lot of people probably favored the Bears to beat the Cardinals. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? That's another game that many thought they probably would win. They didn't get it done. So now it's playoffs. Every time for the next few weeks, when we sit down and watch the Bears, it's going to be big things at stake. And for us, that's great. But it's a lot of pressure on this football team to turn around. And then Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles going to have some tough decisions to make with his buddy in the weeks to come. I'm pretty much wrapped up on the Bears. I want to
Yeah,
move around. It's been a trade deadline. Unless you got something else you want to talk about with the Bears, I want to kind of move on to some things that's going on around the league. How do you feel about it? But before we go there, do you have any closing remarks on the Chicago Bears? We know they got the Patriots coming up. I guess it's what, week 10
yeah. Week
of the
10.
NFL season.
Week 10.
So okay, so we pointed out that they traded Khalil Herbert to the Bengals, and um who else got in this trade deadline today? It was Ladarius Smith would end up going to the Lions. From Cleveland got traded to the Detroit Lions, so they got some help in the defensive line with that quarterback pass rush, man, and they look good, man. Even with the injury
To
to
Aiden.
Hutchinson,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
they still look good, man. That offense is scoring big points. That defense is getting pressure. I mean, they went out. I mean, up until the game against Green Bay, they played every game indoors.
And
Lo
it
and
didn't
behold, they
matter.
go to Green Bay and it gets to pouring down raining. And guess what? They didn't miss a beat.
Yep.
Man, I'm impressed with the Detroit Lions. They're not the same old Lions anymore. Okay, so we
Are,
can't
are,
count
are
on
we
them two victories no more.
are we good with saying that the Lions are probably the favorites to come out the NFC for the Super Bowl at this midway point?
Yeah. I can see that because the
They gonna
the
have home field.
the the Redskins, I mean not Redskins, but the
You know it, right?
Commanders, the Commanders and the Eagles may have something to say about that, but the Lions look like the most impressive team in the NFC. Um, man, they look good against Green Bay, man. I thought once I saw that rain falling, I was like, well, maybe this will slow them down. And they was out there. uh, my man, what's the the wide receiver? He doing
Amaz,
handstands and
yes,
yeah,
he
he
was
doing handstands in the end zone on the west surface.
he
Man,
was trying to do a bowling pin.
they Super Bowl shuffling for real in Detroit, and hey, you can't count on them two victories right now. So, and then David Montgomery, looking like a wrecking ball
Jamar
out
Gibbs.
there. Jamar, yeah, he looking like he speed balling through the defense. Man, they look good, man. Like I said, I thought that slow track I thought being on the grass would slow them down, and maybe it did, but man, they still look good. They look good against Green Bay on the messy, sloppy surface. So, hey, then you got the rest of the division. Minnesota looks like they got on track a little bit. It took them a while, but they got the win against the Colts, and they're forced to be reckoned with after they lost two straight. They got back on the winning track, and now the Bears are dead last in this division. Just round the bye week, everybody was like kind of like right there, even. Everybody
Mhm.
was saying if you look right now, We got to the bye week. If you look around, everyone in the NFC North is going to make the playoff. Well, count the Bears out. Count the Bears out right now. So, hey man, look around the league a little bit. Um, I don't know if there's any. Oh, one more thing about the trade deadline. Uh, the Jets traded Mike Williams to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Um, so Russ has been cooking for the last 2 weeks. So he gets one more ingredient to cook with. Just Mike Williams. Yeah, kind of got on the outs and with the Jets had some big drops with the Jets a couple weeks. Kind of got it on track the last game, but I think by then, with the Jets picking up Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, and that chemistry he got with Devontae Adams, kind of made Mike Williams a little expendable. So
You
now
know they
he's
still in
going
second place.
to the Steelers. Who, the Jets?
Yeah, at 3-6, they're in second place.
Hey man, that's the way it goes. I mean, you remember the year the Seahawks made the playoffs,
At 7-9.
and that yeah. So there you go. So it's the NFL, man. It's crazy things happen when you look around because I just go to show you the Bears are 4-4, in most of the divisions around the league. They still be in it,
Yep.
but not so in the NFC North. So um I wanted to uh trying to get with this midway point, looking at some of the possible MVP, just the midway point. Some things of the MVPs, the coach of the year, and the rookie of the year. And I got a log jam at coach of the year. Um, but my MVP right now for the league is Derrick Henry.
Yep. Well, we are
Uh,
on the same page. You
so
got your
many,
state right there.
yeah, yeah. And then you can make a case for Jared Goff, maybe. But when I looked up, they're just having a hell of a season. But I don't think Jared Goff. I could be wrong, but I don't know if he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league statistically. They're just having a wonderful season in Detroit. But I got Derrick Henry as my MVP,
Same.
and then I got Saquon maybe a close second because with all the negativity going on in Philly early midway point to the season, he's the brightest. He seems to be the brightest star in Philly right now. He's the glue that keeps that team together, making
Which
some
is crazy because
spectacular
this is his
plays.
first year there.
Yeah, and we knew what Saquon was. We knew that Saquon had the ability to do the things he's doing, and now he's with a team that even when the team looks dysfunctional, his talent has shined through and has their team at least in a competitive point at this point of the season. It's gonna be interesting when they match up with the Commanders. But I think they've only lost 2 games. The Commanders only lost 2 games. But I got Saquon as a close second. My coach of the year is a log jam. Who would you go with?
I'm going Kevin O'Connell. I'm going
Okay.
Kevin O'Connell because we knew he was a good coach, but I think everybody thought that team was going to take a step back without Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
When they signed Sam Darnold, nobody thought that that the Vikings would be 6-2 at this point. Nobody thought that because Sam Darnold this is his third stop. So for him to be able to still have that, the Vikings looking good on offense, they still one of the upper echelon scoring teams in the league. Brian Flores, which was a great hire by him, how he got that defense humming. I'm going Kevin O'Connell, but like you said, it's a log jam. I
Mm-hmm.
I can guess one of the names you're gonna say. I will just wait till you say it though.
Okay, at the top of my list, I got Andy Reid.
Okay, all right. I didn't think you was going Andy Reid.
The reason why I got Andy Reid because his quarterback ain't playing spectacular.
Nope.
The defense is playing well. Um, they have not been just like blowing teams out. They've been in a dogfight every week.
and they still 8-0.
And they still 8-0. I mean, even up to the last game against Tampa Bay, I felt like, especially when Mahomes went down with that little ankle injury, I said maybe this is the game that they'll lose. And funny as it is, they'll get right with this
Mhm.
loss. But they got it right back. They got it together immediately. Like they go out before the trade deadline and they pick up
DeAndre
uh
Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins. He had 2 touchdowns. Like, welcome to KC. This how we do it. Hey man, go catch 2 touchdowns. We're gonna bless you in this mess. And there they are, 8-0. So I got
Travis
Andy
Kelce had
Reid.
a sighting yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Hey man, I got Andy Reid. And the reason why I got Andy Reid because he's finding a way. That team is finding a way to get it done. And Patrick Mahomes isn't having a great year, but I gotta give it to Andy Reid because they're plugging and playing guys. They even got Hunt playing. They brought Hunt back to play, to carry the load at running back, and they're getting the job done, man. Andy Reid is my coach of the year coach of the year at the midway point of the season. Like I said, I had a log jam though because Dan Campbell has to be my second best.
Okay.
He's got to be my runner up for that for the coach of the year. But and then Mike Tomlin made a tough decision. It was not popular in Pittsburgh to change quarterbacks after Justin Fields led them to 4-2. Um, he can be leapfrog now though. I can leapfrog Mike Tomlin with Kevin O'Connell,
Okay.
and then even Dan Quinn. That's why I say it's a log jam. Dan Quinn winning with a rookie quarterback. Looking at how Washington was, what Washington was just a year ago, and how would you like to be Jerry Jones? Dan Quinn, you know,
You're a
you let
builder.
him walk.
Yeah.
Now I think he in the division, and he winning the division. You let your defensive coordinator go, he go and he take the damn division. Cliff Kingsbury, his offensive coordinator, maybe he want to get back to be the head man again somewhere around in the league, but Andy Reid
In
is
the
my
Bears
guy.
interview to be offensive coordinator who had
Yeah,
ties
yeah,
to Caleb Williams, but they went with the get along game.
yeah, definitely did. They kept him. Didn't even bother to call Jim Harbaugh.
Nope.
But
Nope.
just won the national championship and still didn't call him. So
That's
okay,
who I
there you
thought you
go.
were going with for coach of the year so far.
Oh no, 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 no. Don't get me wrong. I like Jim. I see what he's doing in Los Angeles, but he has not. They got off. He's changing the culture in Los Angeles, and they're in the tough division with they. He got his work cut out. He got a franchise quarterback. He's toning him down a little bit. He's implementing his culture, and they're running the hell out the football. They're winning the games in the trenches. It ain't sexy, but they are effective, but not quite just yet. I don't have Jim Harbaugh coach of the year. I gotta look at this thing for what it is. If I'm gonna look around the league, I gotta see it for what it is. And it is Andy Reid. My rookie of the year is hands down Jaden Daniels.
Is it any other option? Is
Yeah, man, hands
it any
down.
other option? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much, man, how I see it around the league right now. Midway through the season, the Bears are in a tough spot, but the NFL always gives us something to look forward to. It's the one league, and I don't know, with most fans, when their team is out of contention in a lot of different sports, they probably lose interest in that league itself, with regards if it's the MLB, NFL, or NBA. But the NFL is the one league that even when the Chicago Bears are not really competing, I can still, if they still can hold my interest throughout the league. They just find a way to do it. And they don't need no crazy storylines. They just go out and play football and the cream rises to the top. You know,
Yep.
set aside. I don't need the Taylor Swifts. You know what I'm saying? I don't need all that.
Oh, that's
I
just
don't need a
bonus. That's just
yeah.
bonus.
That's for them. That's for the people that just want to, get to know the game. But for the diehard fans, we just want to see good football. And don't get me wrong, because from week in, week out, we question some things about officiating, especially when it comes down to the Kansas City Chiefs. The league is not 100% foolproof. We do have our skepticisms about the NFL when it comes down to certain things happening on the field with referees and what is a catch, what is especially with college football, what is targeting and stuff like
Yeah.
this. So there's some bad vibes in the game, but it week in and week out they keep us entertained. And when I say that, I have to look at ahead too as this week. Is it? I think this is week 10, right?
We're going into week 10 now.
Okay, yeah. So we're going into week 10, and when I looked at this, I was like, "It's not a bunch of really good games, but um, it's the NFL." So I went to looking around, and it don't give me. They're going to find a way.
Thursday
Two or
night.
three of these games are going to be entertaining because it's the NFL. And they don't let us down. But on Thursday night, the Bengals go into Baltimore for a divisional game on Thursday night to play the Ravens. That was one of the interesting games, interesting matchups I had. Of course, Bears, Patriots. We got to keep an eye on that. The Steelers coming off a bye week. Russ is going into DC to cook, and they're going to play the Commanders. And then the Jets, they're going to always keep our interest, I guess, with Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to play the Cardinals. Um, it
And I
was
think
another game.
I think the Eagles and Cowboys. I think the Eagles going to officially make the Cowboys a
Yeah,
non-factor after this week, especially with Dak being injured.
yeah. They said he might go on injury reserve too. So
He should. He
yeah,
got paid. This team ain't going nowhere. It ain't worth it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
take CD with
Yeah. CD cutting it out though, man. He's trying to make plays with that banged up shoulder. But he may be out this week as well. And but the word is on Dak is he may be getting ready to get set to be on the injury reserve. Um, One couple games I'm looking at that may tweak our interest before we wrap up. I mentioned the Jets and Cardinals because of the Aaron Rodgers
you.
and the
Oh no,
Jets.
you
Until
Sunday
the
night.
Jets.
Look at that
Oh
game.
well, yeah, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna
Oh,
get
okay,
there.
okay, okay.
I'm gonna get there. I'm trying to go through the day a little bit, but the Jets and Cardinals. Aaron Rodgers continue to be a story now with Devontae Adams, with the recent success of the Cardinals. I think that game is going to take. That's a 3 o'clock game. I think that game is going to take a little precedent because of what's on the line for both teams. The Cardinals leading their division, and the Jets needing they like kind of like the Bears. They need every win they can get at this point. And Aaron Rodgers is playing for his career with every snap. You know what I mean? So that leads me to this game. When I first seen it, I'm saying the Texans ain't playing that extremely well, but the Lions going into Houston prime time. It's gonna be a so weak for the NFL, but I'm looking forward to it, man. I think one of these games gonna pop off the charts and give us something to look forward to. Don't need a bunch of storylines. They're just gonna go out and play football, and I'm willing to bet something's gonna happen,
Don't
and
don't
it's
sleep
gonna be
on
a
that
good week.
Sunday night game. Don't sleep on it because the Texans just came off a bad loss. They
Yeah,
6-3 still at the top of the AFC South. And
yeah,
they got the Lions coming rolling in, who looks to be like the belle of the ball right now. Don't think D'Amico Ryans is not going to have that team ready to play. So I think that may be one of the best games of the weekend. Definitely that 3 o'clock window. I'm sure we could probably get we might get Jets Cardinals on CBS with Rome on them. and we may get Tom Brady for Dallas in the Eagles game. So just that window, even though Dallas really ain't got a product to put on the field, but yeah, and then we got our Bears at 12 o'clock back on the lake. And see what they, we might have a new president elect by then. It's just a lot going on.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, one game that I keyed in on was the Steelers going into Washington. The Steelers have dominated the two teams from New York. They beat the Jets and they beat the Giants consecutively. Russ cooked them. Now Russ gets to go into the nation's capital. And let's see after a bye week if Russ can continue to do his thing for the Steelers. The Steelers adding Mike Williams. So there's some storylines because I think I'm missing a story. I think Lattimore from the Saints was traded to the Commanders. As I think about this stuff. But I think that's gonna be another big game. I think that's a 12 o'clock game. I'm hoping I could check that game out. So, hey man, it's been real tonight. Unfortunately, the Bears have their work cut out for them. But I set myself up for this a long time ago. So enjoy.
And I'm still riding the roller coaster.
Yeah, man. I tried to tell you, but hey, man, watch the game. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next week.
We out.